Hi, I'm Jay, and today on Jay's World Kitchen, we're making pulled pork. Pulled pork is a quick and easy dish that you can set in a crock pot for the day while you're out of the house. Come back and prepare it, and it's ready within 20 minutes. The ingredients are super simple, and if you don't have a crock pot, I strongly recommend getting one. I really do rely on mine a lot, especially for this dish. Let's look at the ingredients. For this dish, you're going to need approximately 2 pounds of pork loin. You can usually pick this up in a much larger amount, but I find about 2 pounds, which is 1 kilogram, usually does more than enough for me, and I can freeze it afterwards, which is great. You're also going to need 2 to 4 bell peppers. I recommend sweet ones in multiple colors because it just looks so much better. 1 to 2 large onions, a generous amount of garlic, as well as some seasoning salt, pepper, and garlic powder. Obviously, one of the biggest ingredients in this is barbecue sauce. Now, I have my favorite brand, but that doesn't mean you have to use my favorite brand, and this is not it because we're not being paid to say any brands. But definitely find your favorite barbecue sauce. You can also augment it with other flavors if you like. But let's go ahead and start putting this together. The thing about pulled pork is that the method is pretty straightforward. You're going to start off by slicing up some of your onions, julienne, and then doing exactly the same for your peppers. As soon as they are cut, you're going to throw them into your crock pot, and then on top of that you're going to throw some of your chopped garlic. And again, if you know me by now, you know that I like my garlic, so there's probably a little bit more than what I call for in the recipe, but feel free to add to your taste. To prepare your pork loin, you're going to make sure that you have it with the fat side facing up, and on top of that you're going to sprinkle a little bit of seasoning salt, some pepper, some salt, and some garlic powder, and pop that all into your crock pot on top of your other ingredients. And then you're going to put in a generous helping of barbecue sauce, probably about half a cup to a cup, depending on your taste and depending on how strong you want that barbecue sauce to be. And I add in about 3/4 of a cup of water just around that, and put your lid on, and off you go. Set your crock pot to high for approximately 8 hours if you've got the time, or as little as 2.5 to 3 hours if you don't really have that much time. After your 8 hours are up, you're going to open up and carefully take out your pork roast, put it aside for the moment, and you're going to strain out the contents. So you're going to strain out all the extra juice, and making sure that you get that you hang on to all of the peppers and the onions at the bottom, which you're going to throw back into your crock pot. Now reserve the juice that you pulled because you're going to end up using it a little bit later. And now it's time to actually pull our pork. So I'm really lucky. I have these amazing tools which are called bear claws. You can get them off Amazon or other online retailers, and they're really handy, and you'll see I use these most often, but you can use a combination of those and your fork, or just regular forks if you don't have access to something like these. And very simply, you're just going to grip your one side of your roast and just start pulling apart using the bear claws to do so until you have the entire thing shredded and it's all into a very similar consistency. You may need to use your fork after just to try and get it smaller so that it's not in the chunks aren't too big. Once you've done that, you can assess just about just how wet or dry your pork is, it can be pretty dry at this point. You're going to add another half a cup to a cup of barbecue sauce, and then you're going to add some of that liquid that we pulled off earlier, just to make it quite juicy and not too dry. Once you've got that sort of consistency figured out, you're going to pop it back on high for approximately 20 minutes to half an hour, and then it's ready to serve. And now, of course, my favorite part of every episode is the taste test. I went out and got some brioche buns and slightly toasted them and added some grated cheddar cheese on top, and the smell is amazing. I cannot wait to taste this, so here goes. That barbecue sauce is perfectly amalgamated with the flavors of the peppers and the garlic and the onion. And it's just the right mix of slightly spicy and definitely slightly sweet. What an amazing meal. The nice thing about it is once you take it out of the crock pot, you can actually freeze it in portions so that you can heat it up for one meal or two or three or four, or as many as you need. It does freeze very well, and it thaws very well and reheats very, very well. So definitely something to keep in mind. If you enjoyed this episode, please remember to hit that like button, and if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button too. Thanks so much for watching. If you would like to support this channel, remember you can always support me via Patreon. That link is below in the comments, as is my Facebook and my Instagram. So until next week.